Good morning, everyone. We're learning Mishna is Chagiga, Perek Aleph, Chapter 1, Mishna Beis, Mishna 2. Be a short Mishnah today. Beishamai Omer and Beishamai say, Hare'iyah shtei chesef. Now, every person who is obligated to come to the Beis HaMikdash during the Shalosh Regalim on Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot also have to bring karbanos, sacrifices. One is called an Eilas Re'iyah. One is an Eila offering called an Eilas Re'iyah, the Eila of Re'iyah, of coming to the Beis HaMikdash. That is an Eila, a burnt offering, completely burned. And the other offering is called Shalmei Chagiga, a carbon shlamim, a shlamim carbon for the Chag, for the festival. Carbon shlamim is mostly eaten by the owner of the sacrifice and whoever he wants to invite. Part of it is burnt on the mizbeach, on the altar. Part of it is eaten by the kohanim. So every person who has an obligation to be at the Beis HaMikdash on those Yom Tovim also has an obligation to bring these two sacrifices. So the Mishnah is not going to say that although according to Torah law there is no required cost or amount of money that the animal has to be worth to be able to do the sacrifice, the Chachamim, the sages, did put an amount that the animal at least has to have a minimum value. So Beishamai say, Hare'iyah, the Re'iyah, referring to the Eilas Re'iyah, the Eila offering, Shtei Chesef. It has to be Shtei Kesef. That means 2 silver ma'os. A ma'ah is the smallest silver coin that there was in the times of the Mishnah. And being that all it says is, in the Mishnah is Shtei Kesef, 2 silver what? So therefore, since the Mishnah doesn't tell us which silver coin, we understand that it means the smallest silver coin, which is a ma'ah. And what the Mishnah, according to Beishamai, is saying is that your oila offering has to be at least 2 silver ma'ah. Okay? The chagiga, and the chagiga offering, what we call the shalmei chagiga, the shlamim offering, ma'ah chesef. It's enough if it's going to be 1 ma'ah, of 1 silver ma'ah. Okay? This, again, the smallest coin, the smallest silver coin that there was in that time. And as they bring down here in the bottom, this is enough to buy a small lamb or a goat. You can buy a small animal to be able to fulfill these obligations. And this is the minimum. Less than that, you can't. It has to be at least this amount of money. Beis Hillel say, Hare'iyah ma'ah chesef, the oilas re'iyah, the oila carbon, that can be 1 ma'ah of silver. The chagiga shtei chesef, and the chagiga is 2 kesef, meaning 2 ma'ah. Actually, interesting. The Mishnah, when it comes to 1, it says ma'ah, and by the kesef it doesn't say shtei ma'ah kesef. But the point is that both of them are working with this coin called a ma'ah, and according to Beis Hillel, the oila offering has to be 1 ma'ah of silver, and the chagiga has to be 2. So you have Beis Shammai saying that the oil has to be of more value, and according to Beis Hillel, the chagiga has to be of greater value. What's the machlokes? What's the argument? So Beis Shammai argues that since the oila is completely burnt on the mizbeach, on the altar, which means it's completely given to Hashem, that has to be of the higher value. That has to be given, so to speak, more respect. It has to be of a higher value, and therefore he says the oila, the oilas re'iyah is 2 kesef, while the chagiga is 1. Beis Hillel, on the other hand, look at it like this. The oila is completely burnt. From the chagiga, people have to eat from it. The owner has to eat from it. The kohanim have to get a portion. The mizbeach, the altar, gets a portion. So being that there's more of it you need more of it. Since you have more things that you have to do with it, you need to have more of it. And therefore, you have to spend more amount, you have to spend a higher amount of money on the chagiga carbon because of the fact that there are, more parts that need to be taken care of. Therefore, it has to be larger and therefore more expensive. Let me just do the Chofetz Chaim now.
The silver has to be a few dollars.
Oh, 1 second. And there's one other thing that's mentioned. I forgot to mention. Thank you for reminding me. They bring down here in the notes, in addition to these offerings, there was a third offering that was brought. This was known as Shalmei Simcha, Shalamim for rejoicing. There's a mitzvah for everyone, including women, to rejoice on the festival by eating the meat of a shlomim offering. So that's the third carbon you got to bring. You got to bring shalmei simcha, or at least you got to partake of shalmei simcha. And that's an obligation on a woman too. The shalmei chagiga, she's not obligated in. Of course, she could eat from it, but she's not obligated to eat from it. The shalmei simcha is a third type of carbon that, again, is there for the purposes just for rejoicing, and that even a woman is obligated in. But the Mishnah did not even mention it because when it came to this carbon, the Chachamim did not set a minimum value for it. Shalmei simcha doesn't have a minimum value, and therefore it's not mentioned in the Mishnah. Okay. So we're up to the Chofetz Chaim Klal Beis, chapter 2, Sif Gimel, paragraph 3. Yesh Oimrim, there are those who say, that, before we had an example of saying something that can be understood either in a derogatory fashion or in a fashion that's not derogatory. Here we're talking about somebody spoke Lashon Hara in front of 3 people. Done. Divrei Gnus. There was no question derogatory about someone. It was no question Lashon Hara. But he said it in front of 3 people. There are those who say, Afterhu Abba Bavada Lisa Lashon Hara, although the person who spoke this Lashon in front of 3 people has for sure transgressed the prohibition of speaking Lashon Hara. If one of the 3 people present who heard what he said, they now go and tell other people about it, that person would not be transgressing the prohibition of speaking Lashon Hara. Because being that 3 people are now aware of this, it's going to spread, and it's going to become well known. One friend passes it on to another friend. And we're talking about something that is going to become well known to everyone. This opinion says the prohibition of Lashon Hara doesn't apply to that. Something that's going to become well known does not have, meaning it's going to be found, people are going to find out about it anyway. You now saying it doesn't constitute Lashon Hara. But let me just point out, as the Chofetz Chaim says, Yesh Omer, there are those who say. What's going to be the practical halacha? We'll have to be patient and wait a little bit. But he right now is he's citing this opinion. Now, but at the same time, the person speaking in front of 3 people, one of the 3 people are going to be who we say they could now say it, have to be saying it, so to speak, in a kind of incidental way. Not because he's trying to spread it more. Even if you didn't say it over from who you heard it from, just that you're saying, this is what's been heard about so-and-so, this will not be, he will not be escaped from the repression of Lashon Hara. Which means, even if we say that the prohibition of Lashon Hara may not apply to in a case where it's going to become known, nonetheless, you can't intend to try to spread it. You just happen to say it. You're speaking to somebody and you just happen to say, you heard about this and this. But if your intention is now to spread it further, even though it's going to be known eventually, that you're still not allowed to do. And then he says, then some say even further, even so to speak in an incidental way, it's not permissible, but rather it came about through something else you're speaking about. But not that you mean to say this alone. Meaning even if, let's say, you're not trying to spread it, but that's the only piece of information you have to say to the person, you can't do it. If now you're speaking about a number of other things, and now as part of the conversation, this came up, that would be a situation where, if it was originally said in front of 3 people, and one of those 3 you heard it, you'd be able then to say it over. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi.